guys, Ashlane here, coming at you today with a really awesome expert interview I had with none other than Woody. Woody is one of our best attackers over in Red Elite. He consistently 3 stars at Town Hall 11 and Town Hall 10. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and bring him in. We'll talk a little bit about his strategy, and then we'll break down one of his recent Town Hall 11 3 stars right after that. So enjoy, guys. So here I am with Woody. Woody, what's going on, man?
Yeah, hi Ashley. I'm doing good. Lovely time.
Yeah, lovely time is your trademark phrase, and you've been having a lovely time in Red Elite for a long time now. It's probably long overdue that I've had you on the channel. You're one of our best attackers, and how long have you been here now?
It must be about a year and a half now. I must have been with you,
Yeah.
maybe even longer than that. You know, yeah, I love Red Elite.
Yeah, dude, you've been here. You're one of our most senior members, so really happy to have you on. You're also, like I said, one of our best attackers, and I really wanted to talk about this specific attack it's your like trademark attack, and a lot of people have transitioned to the mass witch attacks or the queen walk, but good old Woody, you're still 3-starring every single war, it seems like, with just GoWiWi, basically a little bit heavier on the witches. Can you tell me a little bit about the army composition and why you like it so much?
Well, I've always been more of a ground attacker. But before the update, when it was Town Hall 10s was max, you know, I was really successful with the 5 column, 5 column, 15 wizards, 2 witches, and 2-2-3 in the clan castle with 2 entry points. That was what I figured. I was basically, definitely higher max percentage 2-star in 10 Town Hall 10 or 3-starring, and I just got so comfortable with that raid. But then since the Town Hall 11 came out, that raid just didn't work no more. With the 5 columns, especially when you get the 3 times damage on the Eagle Artillery, it just didn't work anymore, which I was a bit disappointed with because it's a bit of my trademark that I liked. So I got rid of a couple of columns. First of all, I just got rid of one of them, tried 4 columns, which some raids it works well, but then I've now just recently, I've been in normal raids, gone down to 3 columns with 7 witches, which I'm finding quite successful. And that's what was this raid, which I did on this raid, which worked out really well.
Yeah.
A lot of luck. There is a lot of luck in the raid. Any 3-star now on a Town Hall 11, you need that little bit of luck. And when you watch the raid over, which I did because it was a 3-star, lovely time. You can just see there's a lot of luck in the raid, to make it happen.
Yeah, but you do make it happen on a consistent basis, and you're also really, really adept at 3-starring Town Hall 10s using the same strategy. So,
yeah, definitely.
So, what are you looking for in Town Hall 11 when you're gonna pick out a base to attack? Do you feel comfortable against any base design, or are you looking for something specific when you're selecting your target?
No, I'm not comfortable on all Town Hall 11s.
Okay.
But I always aim. You can't aim for a 3-star. You all want 3 stars, but I never aim say, right, I'm going to 3-star this base. I can see I can 3-star it because I can't see it. I aim for a 2-star higher percentage, and if you get lucky, a 3-star. And some of the bases, main thing I do look for when you're using witches is the blank spots where you think the giant bombs are going to be. And something else I always look for, what I can freeze. If I can freeze an Inferno Tower and the clan castle troops and the Queen, as much as I can as possible on an entry point, that's what I look for. I can freeze all that so I can rage the troops in to actually take out as much as I can what's frozen to actually keep my troops alive, to keep them going. And that's with the witches. You've got to keep them alive. You've got to keep the skellies going and the witches behind, and that's what I look for in an entry point of a base. And if I can get my skellies and my columns to where the blank spaces are, where I think there could be giant bombs, because that destroys the witches. That can ruin a whole raid. People do mass witches when they've got 12 witches or something like that.
Yeah.
soon as they hit a giant bomb, it's over. That's it. You know, you can't even get a 2-star. So I always look for an entry point where there's not many blank spaces, you know, where there could be giant bombs.
Okay, so you try to find an entry spot to avoid the giant bombs.
Yes.
And you try to go you attack into the queen on most of your attacks.
Yeah, it depends on the side where the queen will actually walk. You know, where she is. What I can freeze the most. You know, I always make sure I can freeze at least one Inferno Tower, but with the Clancast troops and Queen, if possible.
Okay.
And King can get, you know, freeze as much and rage them in to take them all out.
Okay, great. So, as far as your entry,
that's what we look for.
As far as your troops, now I know you said you used to use 2 entry points back when you were Town Hall 10. Now, are you still using only 1 entry point, or are you going 2 sometimes? Did you ever go 3? Like, how do you plan that out?
Yeah, that is different. You know, this raid here, the one we're going to show, you know, there was already an entry point there for me, you know, but a lot of times it's 2 or 1 or 3. You know, there's a couple of standard bases you see, like, and as soon as you see that big square, I don't know if you remember that one, you could just put 3 jumps down and then you just go all in the line, and that's what I aim to do, is keep them all going in the line with the golems in their head and the skellies with the golems just all and everything, wizards taking them out and the king queen behind them, and that's what I sort of look for. And sometimes that takes 3 jumps to do that. There was a raid, I think there's another 3-star I did on an 11 where I did that, just 3 jumps in and they just all in a line and just carried on walking, just plowed through the whole.
Yeah, like a big sweeping motion throughout the whole base. Yeah. So So the base we're going to look at today, we're going to review one of your recent 3-star attacks. The base we're looking at here, Mario from Albania Legends. Where did you? Okay, before we go into playing the attack, we'll have you walk us through the attack. But before we do that, go tell me a little bit about your thought process. What was your game plan going into this base?
Well, my first thought, is it's got 2 open spaces, as you can see. Now, you'd think there's traps. It's a trap base. Well, why's it got them open spaces? But you know, even so, you can see there's 3 spaces in front of you, and then there's where you could have 3 giant bombs, and then on the other side, on the left, you could see there's 2 big spaces where there could be another 2 giant bombs, or and even a Tesla as well. You know, but then I thought the 2 spaces there's 2 Teslas there. There's 3 Teslas on the other 2 spaces at the top, and one in the middle core. And it must be, you know, you'd be an idiot to put them anywhere else.
Yeah.
They've got to be there. So I presumed that, you know, and you look around the base, there is other places where there could be giant bombs. You know, so I presumed that there's at least 3 giant bombs somewhere in that space. There must be, you know. So my plan was to get my skellies, my golems, to them spaces as quick as I could.
Okay.
To take them out, you know, take them out. But I also saw the Eagle Artillery. You know, it's got a full solid wall around it. You know, 4 EQs. I can take all the 4 surrounding walls out and also make a space for the center core.
Yeah, that's a really smart idea when you see that 4 earthquakes can basically open up almost the entire base, you know?
Yeah, that's right. The whole base is open apart. You know, everything is within fire, up and outer wall, you know, the last outer wall. Everything can be, you know, you just straight line straight into it.
All right, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and walk through this attack. When you're ready, go ahead and just let us know when you press play, and we'll go ahead and watch.
Right, if I press play.
All right.
Yeah, press play. Well, first thing is the 4 EQs. Now, if you see, I don't put that. If I pause it for a second, you'll see that I've taken the walls out, but I didn't put that dead center. I made sure that I was just a little tiny bit higher to make sure I take that back wall out as much as I could.
Yep.
You know, because it wouldn't matter if I'd gone too high. If I'd gone a little bit too high, I still would have taken out the walls, wouldn't I? You know, and the front walls to make me entrance.
Exactly.
But too low, and I might have only taken out 1 brick, and you know, that one little space. I thought, yeah. So I always make sure I just go a little bit higher, just to make sure which I did with that. Right, and press and play.
Yep.
And then obviously put my 3 columns down now, spread them evenly, and then straight away after. Well, when I spread my whizzes, I don't dot them down or jump my finger and spread. I always put them down in like one single stroke, making sure I'm keeping a nice straight line. It makes them come down really evenly, and I made sure I put nothing in the top there to take out that mortar. I know someone got killed by the Archer Tower, but they did the job about taking out that mortar. That was one of the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah, very important.
So then when I put the rest of the troops down, I just always put them down in the same order, which is witches first, then my clan castle troops, then my king, then the queen, and I think most important last is your Grand Warden.
Okay.
Now, in order to get to are where I'm thinking the giant bombs are, I put a rage straight there to make my golems go a bit quicker, and also for my skellies to get to that point. So if I press play there, you can see they're going through. And something else I'll do there, if I press pause, I never get the clan castle troops out. I always sort of rage kill them, which worked out the same way I did this. It rage kill the actual, if it was a dragon, whether it was a hound, it didn't matter. I would have killed it in that respect, having that rage being there.
Oh, that's actually a smart idea, because then your troops still benefit from the rage afterwards. So
yes, that's right, and then plus it kills the troops.
Yep.
So I press play again there. It's just taking out the Eagle artillery. But something else that I wanted to point out is some people sort of say, when do you use a Grand Warden ability? Now, I've found something. I didn't do it on this raid particularly, but I find it's always best to time it, the Grand Warden ability, when the actual Eagle artillery is just before it lands. So all the troop, wherever it's aimed at, it's immune for that second. It doesn't do no damage to it. So I always sort of time it. When you see that fire 3 bullets, you time it just before that it's going to land. You can sense where it's going to land. You use the Grand Warden ability.
That's a
and
great
something
tip.
else something else I do as well is, which I didn't do in this rage because it's simple. Well, I'll go for that in a minute because it's got that single Inferno tower. Is you rage the king as soon as you see them 3 targets come out. Just before they land, you rage the king first, and then you use the Grand Warden ability, and then it gives you all them extra barbarians to quickly rage in, and they're immune as well. So extra troops to take something out. That's something I find.
That's
So it's
really
all
good.
quick free swoops, and it just gets everything in. And when you got the rage going on as well, the rage spell, it just makes everything zoom, your wizards, your everything, to a certain point.
That's a really good idea.
It's something I do quite a lot. This one I didn't do that. I did intend to do it, but I didn't for some reason. but it worked out okay. Right, so I press play again there. Now, I use the king ability slightly after then. You see, I did that to get down to the queen. I was going to take out the queen. I froze the single Inferno tower, and as I saw it coming along now, to the right, I put down a minion to take out that side of all the air defences all gone down. On the left, all my skellies, I saw that was going okay, so I didn't bother putting the other minion down there to clean up the edges. I left the skellies do that. But then there's an outside cannon. I thought that's going to give me a few problems. That's going to take out my queen. My queen's getting a bit low.
Yep.
So two minions are down. I put my third to last minion down on that to try and take that out as quick as I could. The skellies were coming around the other side, and the queen's still alive, and the Grand Warden's still on full ability. So I thought, well, this is it. It's a lovely time. You've got it. I just need the skellies to get through the wall and take out the outside troops, and it was brilliant. But when you look back, it's so much luck. If you look at the mortars, the mortars do the most damage to when you're doing mass switch or GoWiWi.
Yeah.
It just so happened that they fired and my troops moved and it missed. Just so many times. And that's the difference between a 2 and a 3-star, because if that mortar would have hit, it just would have got rid of a few of my witches, and that wouldn't be a 3-star. That would just be a high end 2-star. That's the difference.
For
just
sure.
need a little bit of luck.
Now, when you're going to try to 3-star Town Hall 10s,
yep.
Does anything change in your method, or is it pretty much the same? Only obviously you don't have to worry about the Eagle artillery.
Yeah, I had a standard raid for Town Hall 10s. We would have 5 golems, and two entrance points. Now, one of them entrance points, whether you're using 2 jumps or whether you're using wall breakers or whatever, I always spread my golems in a certain way. So if you imagine like a anti-free star base, you need two entrances. Say you're using 2 jumps, I always put 3 golems one side of that jump and 2 the other. Now, normally the 3 golems to go into that jump, evenly spread, that is, but you put the rest of your troops behind the 3 golems. Now that's either want to be where the queen is, where the clan castle troop is, or and also where you can get a nice freeze to freeze the queen and freeze an inferno tower. And then I always, like I did on this raid, I rage them in. I don't use a rage in the centre of the core. I use it to rage to get to the centre, and that seems to work well. Normally on them sort of bases, you can get a jump or an EQ in the middle of a base, so when they're actually there, then you can get to the other side of to get to where the other compartments are. Now, the only bases that I find I can't freestyle on 10s are the ones that have got loads of walls and loads of different compartments, because I can't use enough spells to do that.
Yeah,
to get to the other side, and especially if they've got archer towers in the corners, too far away, and the queen can't reach without breaking a wall, so she ends up just firing at a wall, and they're the ones that I'm struggling to find. You get a high 2-star, but you might not get a 3 unless you just get that little bit of luck again.
Yeah.
But that raid I used for, as you know, in the wars for a long time. I just got so comfortable with that raid, and a few other members of Elite, use that raid as well, and have had success also. But now with Grand Warden, added to that raid, practically any Town Hall 10, using that method, it's a 3-star.
Yeah.
I feel confident that it's a 3-star because you've got the Grand Warden there as well. It just works every time, except for the ones that have got compartments. That doesn't always work there.
So you're looking for a nice anti-3-star base. If it is an anti-3-star base, you're looking for a base that has the bigger compartments in the middle, which is... That's it. You're actually starting to see those a little bit more often, which is good for you.
Yeah,
us.
it is, yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
and it just works out well. Because nothing worse than just seeing a witch there banging against a wall, the skellies banging against a wall until they die, and when the queen starts hitting the wall. You need to be able to get it. So when you've got that middle jump, and you can visualize that the queen is going to get to somewhere where she can fire over the top of a wall to take out a wizard tower, take out an archer tower, where she can reach. If she can't reach, she's going to start hitting the wall, and that's the end of it. So that's what I look for on a Town Hall 10 as well.
Well, thank you so much, Woody. You've been an absolute wealth of knowledge, and even I learned a thing or two. A few of those tips there, very, very cool. And I really like how you have your set strategies that you really like, and you're able to change little tiny things here and there, but your fundamentals stay the same. So I really wanted to have you on to share some of those.
Yeah, that's lovely. Another little tip. Now, I don't know if this is just me, is when you put the witches down, when you're using mass witches, don't just hold your finger down and let them go and run it in like some people do. They think, right, because you want them all in one go, obviously. They hold their finger down and all the witches come out.
Okay.
I do a little wiggle. I don't know whether it does anything, but it must do something.
Why do you do it?
Just I feel as if it makes them spread out a little bit rather than being in one place. So rather than just going one place, just do a little wiggle. I don't know whether that does anything, but it's something I do, and it seems to work.
Well, sure. Okay, that is a pro tip. So a little wiggle.
A little wiggle with your witches. Yeah, can't be bad.
All right. I'm going to try that next time, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to blame you.
Yeah, that's right. Don't forget to wiggle your witches.
All right. Well, Woody, thank you so much, man. It's been a great time, and thanks for coming over from the UK.
No, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure raiding with you all. That's it.
All right.
And I'll tell you, before we go, the biggest tip is make sure the missus is asleep or she's not talking to you before you do a war raid. That's the biggest tip of all.
Yeah, you've had to escape from some tough situations to get some war raids in, right?
I have, yeah. That's what,
Any other tips you want to give us there, or?
That's the one. Yeah, no worries.
All right, Woody. Thanks so much, man. You take it easy.
It's been good talking to you, Ash.
All right, take care.
Take care, and you, cheers.